All right, gang, welcome to Series 2 of the ever-popular Triple Threat Challenge. We are on a map that I am going to butcher the name of, but we'll attempt to do it here the first time, and then I'm going to give it a shortened name just to make it easier on myself. I think it's German or Austrian or Czech, somewhere in that region. But anyway, maybe Polish, I don't know, but somewhere in that region. I think it's pronounced Wola Zabierzowska, I think is how it's actually pronounced. I'm going to call it Zabby for short just to make my life easier. But it'll be down below in the description if you want to check it out. And if you want to partake in this actual Season 2 of the Triple Threat Challenge. Now, we start with $500,000 in the bank. I've got the time slowed way down because we're going to do all this setup process together here and kind of go from there. So we have $500,000 in the bank, and you need a $250,000 loan to start. Right off the bat, that's what you need to set the settings up as. Obviously, start from scratch, and then load up this map. When you load this map up, the first thing you're going to do is pop over here to plot 222, and you're going to purchase this plot. Now, this is different than what I showed my members recently when we were kind of setting this up. Initially, I had thought about doing 224. I changed my mind after that episode came out. So, those of you that are members, I apologize. I did change my mind. So, we just spent a good chunk, about a little over half of what we actually started with as far as our money goes, right? So, we bought this piece of land. The first thing we're going to do is come over here to the house, and we're going to sell it. So, you sell that house. It puts us back up to 336,944. Now, with the remainder of what's here, you have a choice. You can select one building to keep. Everything else has to be sold. So if you want to keep this garage, by all means, go for it. If you want to keep the sheep barn, by all means, go for it. Silo, whatever you want. You can keep one thing. Everything else has to be sold. So people are going to have different starting amounts, but it's all going to be a very similar amount that you're going to be left with. Me, personally, I'm going to keep this silo, even though we probably could get a mod that would give us a lot more storage for a lot cheaper. I just like these silos, and I've always wanted to have those really be utilized heavily in a series, and so that's the reason why we're going to do that. So I'm going to sell the sheep barn here. I'm going to sell this garage. Sell this garage here. Sell this one. And then finally, we need to sell the fence that's around the perimeter of the area. So, after you sell all that, you should have literally one building, whether it's the garage or this or the sheep barn, whatever it is you decide to keep. You should have one building remaining, and everything else should be just completely open, flat land, minus the trees that are here. Now, the reason why I decided to go with this piece of land over the other one is the other one had a lot more trees on it. This has a lot less trees, so I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But nonetheless, this is what we're starting with. Now, what you're going to do next is you have to go in and put a house down. Now, it really doesn't matter what house you pick. It could be even the same exact house that you got rid of, but you have to get rid of that house right off the bat. It's from a money standpoint perspective more than anything. Now, the house you put down has to be at least $50,000. So you cannot put down any of like the hobo stuff or like the sleep bench or doormat or tent. Can't do any of that. Has to be at least $50,000. You can do more if you want, but that's going to cut into your starting amount, right? I'm going to go with this house here. I like this house a lot, so I'm going to go with this one. And I'm going to place mine right about here somewhere. Let's see if I can get this set to where I want it to be at. Perfect. So my house is going to be right there. Now, that is literally all you have to do as far as the actual yard goes and your starting buildings. So you have to have that house and then whatever building you picked, whether it's the silo, the sheep barn, or one of the actual garages, whatever. You have to buy some land next. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to purchase field number 44, which is right next to the yard that you're on. So you'll buy that one. $114,000 is going to take a good chunk up. And then the next thing you're going to do is buy field 38, which is directly to the left of where I'm actually at right now. Or if you're looking at the map, the one that's directly to the left, the one that's directly to the right. That should leave you with about $217,372. Like I said, maybe 15-20 swayed one way or another depending on what you kept, but it should be somewhere in that range. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go into the settings here. You're going to go down to your finances, and you're going to pay $100,000 off on that $250,000 loan. Excuse me. It should leave you with $150,000 left as a loan. Now, let's get into more of the details of how this series works. In case you stumbled across this and you're not sure what this is about, the Triple Threat Challenge, in essence, is 3 randomized threats that you have to accomplish or you have to do to be successful, right? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put every single crop that this map has to offer, which this map has actually extended crops. You can see there it's got beans, buckwheat, alfalfa, etc. You're going to put every single one of these crops in a randomizer. I don't care if it's wheel to side. I don't care if it's random.org. I don't really care what you use. That's up to you. You do whatever you want to do. But you need to put every one of these crops in there. Hit the randomize. Whatever one pops up, that is going to be your crop. Now, what does that mean? Well, really what that means is I have to go into the map right now. And for me, personally, I'll pop it up right now in the edit. I got a crop that I've never done before. I got... Come on, where's it at? Poppy. So, I got the poppy seed, which is what I got that I have to harvest. Now, this map is fantastic. It's an actual map that one of you mentioned that I should check out. This is not a map that I initially intended to do this challenge on, but you all mentioned I should check it out. I checked it out. I do really like it, so this is what we're doing. So Poppy, looking at the map right now, I've got field 100 in the bottom left, down here. I got field 32, 62, 134, 176, and 166. What I have to do is figure out a way to purchase all of those fields. Now, you need to make a mental note of this now, write it down, whatever you need to do, because it very well could change by the time it comes for you to buy it. But right now, I've got to basically purchase 6 fields to be able to accomplish part 1 of the Triple Threat Challenge, which is to own all of the fields that have poppy in them. The second portion of that is I have to be able to not only harvest those fields with poppy in it, but I also need to have drilled them. So what I mean by that is if it already has poppy in it, which those do right now, and I'm able to buy one of those before it's harvest time, I can harvest that, and that will complete 50% of that portion, right? But I also need to re-drill it with poppy as well. So you have to do both. Now, the change here compared to the first season is when we harvest that poppy, we are not allowed to sell that poppy just directly. So whatever you get, if you get buckwheat, if you get flax, it doesn't matter. Whatever you get, you're not allowed to sell that outright. What you have to do is you have to turn that into some form of a production chain. And in this instance, you have to buy whatever that production chain is that is required for that. And you have to deliver all of your crop or your product there to turn that into whatever that production chain requires. Now, if that production chain requires more than just your one crop, you're going to have to figure out a way to get that going as well, right? So there's going to be certain things that probably, I really didn't look into heavy detail here, but I'm sure there's going to be some things that probably require more than just one thing, like a potato processing plant needs sunflower oil as well for potato chips, right? If you got stuck with potatoes, you're also going to have to do sunflower oil. But for us, we got poppy, right? Now, poppy can be turned into oil, so we're going to make poppy oil out of it. The way this is going to work is I cannot just go in and put down my own poppy oil production chain. I have to buy the oil mill that's on the map. It's going to be the same thing for all of you. Whatever crop you get, you have to buy whatever that production is that can take that product. You have to buy that on the map. So our oil mill, I think it was like almost $300,000. It's not cheap by any means. So you kind of want to strategize that a bit, right? And try to plan that out a little bit to where when you're actually going to have poppy you can do something with. I mean, you can put it in the silos, certainly, and maybe you should. But you're not really going to be able to do anything with that poppy. You're not going to be able to make any money off that until you have purchased that production chain and then start producing it at your production chain that's on the map. Does that make sense? You can't put your own production chain down. You have to buy the one on the map for your specific crop that you got from the randomizer. All right, so that's part 1. Part 2 is an animal. I had thought about modifying the animals a bit to an extent as well, but I'm not going to specifically do that. What I am going to say is whatever randomized animal you get, you got to put all the animals in. So you put cows and, water buffalo, etc. Me personally, I got water buffalo, which I haven't done a whole lot with water buffalo, so I'm kind of excited about that. But nonetheless, I have to have at least 250 water buffalo. That's literally the only restriction for the animals. Doesn't matter where you put them. You can put them on this piece of land that we own here right now. If you want to put them somewhere on here, go for it. That's all up to you. If you want to put them somewhere else, also go for it. Does not matter. But at the end of the series, for it to actually be able to complete the series and complete all 3 of the threats, I have to have 250 water buffalo. All right, and so we've got the crops taken care of. We've got the animals taken care of. Now, the final one is the loan. Now, we're going to do this a little bit differently than how we did it in the past before. We had just thrown all the different loan amounts, 250, 500, 750, and $1 million, into a randomizer, and then whatever that gave you, that was your total loan amount, and you had to pay that off before the end of the series to actually complete the series, right? The way we're going to go about this one is a little bit different. We're starting with $150,000. You are not allowed to touch, pay off the loan, take out a loan, anything like that. You're not allowed to do anything with it until the beginning of the new fiscal year. So in this instance, it'll be January, right? The new year would be January. So before you do anything in January, every year, every in-game year in January, you're going to have to go to Wheel Decide or random.org, whatever you want to choose, and say, am I allowed to pay off my loan? If it's a 50-50 chance. If it says yes, well, you put yes and no in, right? If it says yes, then you can pay off as much of the loan as you want. You can pay all of it off, and it clears out the loan threat completely, or you can just pay off part of it, whatever it may be. If it says no, then you've got another thing you have to do in the random.org. You then have to say, do I need to take out more of a loan? And if it's same thing, yes or no. And if it says yes, you've got to take out $100,000. Does not matter if you need it or not. It's going to actually bulk up your bank account, which is great. But the thing here is you're going to be taking interest on that all the way until the end of next year, right? So it's actually going to harm you a little bit. It's going to give you some more, so it'll help you out, right? But it's going to hurt you when it comes to the end. If it says, no, I don't need to take out a loan, guess what? You got super lucky. You had a 50% chance to get lucky. You got lucky. You don't have to take out a loan for the rest of the year. And then next January, start the process all over again. So try to word that a little bit better, because I know there's a lot of wordsmithing there. Animals, you've got to randomize all of your animals. Whatever animal you get, you have to have at least 250 of them. Crop, you randomize every crop that's on this map, which is an extension of what the normal starting crops are. Whatever that crop is, you got to go into the map, take note of every crop that has that, or every field that has that crop in it at the point at the beginning of this series. So for me, like I said, poppy, I have 6 fields, but you could get something else and it might have a heck of a lot more. Let's see, like if we did, like Treticle had a bunch more, right? So some of these might have a lot. Well, rye, there's prime example. Rye has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, a lot more, right? So you can get lucky, you can not get lucky. You also can get lucky with the 2 fields that we start with, right? If you had rye is one of those fields. So you actually got lucky there. You already got one of those fields that you require. But that's really the goal for that. And then once you're done, and once you're starting to harvest poppy, if you want to sell it, you've got to be able to buy the production for it. So real quick before we jump back to the loan again, let's just go here and I'll show you. So poppy is this building here. So if I want to buy this building, this oil building, I should say. $240,000. So it's not cheap, right? There's some other buildings here that probably, like the potato processing plant, I mean, $360, right? There's some other ones here that are going to be more expensive. It just depends on what you got, and what you're going to be utilizing, right? So there's that. And then the final thing, as mentioned, is the loan. The loan is going to be ever changing. The beginning of every year, January, you've got to put in a yes or no question to random.org or Wheel Decide and say, am I able to pay off my loan? And if it's a yes, pay off as much as you want. If it's no, you're not allowed to pay off your loan. And then the next thing is, if you get no, you're not allowed to pay off your loan. The next thing is, you have to put in another question to it and says, do I need to take out more of a loan? And if the answer is yes, you've got to take out a $100,000 loan right then and there. And you're going to have to suffer with the interest and everything that you're going to occur for the next year from that. So you're going to lose a little bit of money in the process, right? So you have $100,000 to spend, but if you were just to keep it in the bank, you are going to be losing money every single month leading up to it, right? So that's how this is going to work. I hope that all makes sense. If it doesn't, if you're concerned or anything like that, or you're not quite sure what I mean, everything will be down below in the description as easy as I can possibly make it for you. Hopefully it makes sense. And yeah, so let me get this all set up here. And let's go ahead and get started. So we have $117,000 to our name. Now, again, we've got this land here. For the time being, I don't think it's beneficial right now for me to do anything in regard to any sort of buying of any buildings yet. That's not a lot of money to start with. We have nothing. We've got no equipment, nothing, none of any sort. So we've got to spend this money to buy some equipment, right? So we can get started here. I guess the last thing I can do real quick is just kind of flip through here. Some of these choices, they're all going to be down below in the description. They're going to be your choice. I'm doing it on hard difficulty. I want this to be extremely difficult, so I'm doing that. Seasonal growth I do have on 1 day per month. Snow's on. Crop destruction's on, periodic plowing's on. I do have fieldstone off. That's one of the only things I'm helping myself out with, is not really having to worry or deal with any fieldstone in this instance. Excuse me. Weeds are on. Disaster destruction's on. Everything as you normally would expect is all on. I am playing a precision farming on as well. So quite a lot really to do, if I'm honest with you. So that's what I'm rolling with as far as the finite details go. So, having said all of that, I think it's time for us to start looking in and seeing what we can find to buy. I think what we should do first... Well, actually, okay, hold on a second. The fields that we do own... I need to turn all this stuff back on because I have it all off just to show you where my poppy fields were. Okay, so... Are these, where are we standing right now? Okay, both of these are ready to harvest, so we need to get some kind of a harvester, and $117,000 is not, it's not going to help us a whole lot, harvester-wise. You are allowed to use mods, go for it. I was kind of considering doing a limitation on some of the hand stuff, but, I mean, you play it however you want. This would take us a long time. I'm also not putting any restrictions on how, if you want to do multiple episodes in the same month. I don't really care. That's up to you. You do what you want to do. I think it's difficult enough as it is, so do whatever works for you. It's probably going to be this Massey Ferguson, right? I mean, it's really the best deal we got. I really don't think we can spend... Well, actually, you know what? What's in the used market? Oh, look at the used market, just helping us out like a treat. I think we're going to have to go with this one. It's a little bit more than that 10,000 one, but, well, okay, wait a minute. Maybe we shouldn't. I mean, it's $10,000 versus 14. It's more expensive. 2,500 to 3,500. What is this one? 2,500. I don't think that even makes any sense. I think it makes more sense to go with the Massey Ferguson, right? Why would we not go with this one? Right? Well, I mean, it's going to get to 14,400 if we get the extension, right? I guess we don't need to. It'll still be a little bit more expensive to buy the used one, and you know, you're going to have to service it and everything, so it almost, I think, makes sense to go with this one. Even though this is one we use all the time, it just kind of makes sense in my eyes. But the tractor, I do think, makes a lot of sense. I think this makes a ton of sense to buy this. I'm just going to stick with 130 horsepower for right now. We might need more. I can almost guarantee you we're going to need more. You know I like my wide tires. I'm willing to spend the extra money on that. Let's put one beacon on it. I'm not going to worry about the front loader attachment right now. I don't think we need it right now. I do think we should put this on, but I don't think I really want to spend the money on it right now. Yeah, so let's go with the fast track here. 25,000. It's going to take a good chunk of our money up already. Okay, we'll buy that. And then, as much as I kind of want to buy this, I just don't think... it makes the most sense. I think the other one makes a lot more sense. The Massey Ferguson, I think it just makes a heck of a lot more sense, right? All right, we're going to go with the Massey Ferguson. You know I've got to get the Michelins on there. The cabin costs more, huh? I mean, personally, I would like to have a cabin. I really don't want to die early. The extension here, does it really make sense for us to spend an extra 3,300 to get a larger mount? I mean, probably. I mean, we're cutting into the price here, but probably, right? I mean, I'm just going to keep it the same Massey Ferguson colors. Why would we change it? Yeah, let's go with that. 14.4. And it's brand new. That's the difference, right? It's a brand new one. All right, and then we've got to buy the header for it. It's not a massive header, but you know what? That's okay. It'll work for the time being. All right, so we've got that. Now we need a trailer because we're going to have to dump some of this in there. And like I said, all of this likely for right now, it's just going to go directly into the silo. It's not poppy, so we are able to sell it anytime we want, but we probably want to keep it and sell it when it's the best time to sell it, if at all possible. What's our choices here? Again, I don't want to spend an arm and a leg here. I want to be relatively smart about this. How much does it cost to increase the capacity? It's not that much more to increase the capacity. 5,000 seems like a pretty good deal to me. Yeah, we'll go with that. I'm going to kind of match it up to the JCB here a bit, I think. I don't really love yellow, but you know what? We're gonna try to match this up. Yeah, that works. That works for me. I think 10,000 is going to be pretty good. I think this is a pretty good start for us. We're going to leave us with just under 70 grand. And that's things that we actually have to start here, right? So I think this is a pretty good setup. So we'll get started, and I'll kind of talk through a little bit more with you as well. Some of the other things that maybe I haven't really brought up yet. Maybe not as important as some of the stuff that I went through, but we'll go through a few other things too. We turn the beacon on. I don't fully know the fastest way to get to our land. I guess to the right or to the left. I'm going to go left this time. Maybe we'll go right the next time. I don't know. But let's go left here. All right, so while we're on the way here, we'll kind of talk a little bit more about this series specifically. So, some more finite details of things that you're allowed to do, you're not allowed to do. You are allowed to do contracts if you want to. There's no restriction there on the contracts, with the exception of you are not allowed to do more than 3 contracts per month. Okay, that's the only restriction. It's a minor restriction. Most of the time, you're probably not going to have time to do more than 3 unless you're doing 2-hour-long episodes. So you can only do 3 contracts. You got to be very specific about that. You got to be very careful when you're selecting your contracts, especially maybe during winter months or whatever it is. But you know, there might be a little bit more of a hamstring, I guess, with the things that you can and cannot do. Right? There are, and I'm going to kind of leave this to you. I'm not sure if I'm going to or not. I probably will, but I'm not going to go out of my way to look for them. There's not one there, okay. There are little, like, collectible ticket things around here. If you want to do that, I guess that I'm going to make that optional. I'm not positive if I'm even going to do it or not. I probably won't, actually. I think that might make it a little bit too easy, because I think they're like 5,000 a piece, or they might even be more than that. I don't even remember. But there are little collectibles around, so I guess... No, you know what? I'm going to restrict it. I think I'm going to restrict it. I think it's going to make it too easy, because if you just drive around and find them all, I think it's like $200,000 or something like that. If they are 10,000 a piece, obviously if they're less than that, then you know, whatever. But still, it's a lot of money. I think that will make the series a little bit too easy. So I actually think I'm going to restrict that. So scratch that completely. We're not going to be. You're not going to be allowed to pick those up. Yeah, here we go. Here's our land up here. Now, initially, when I had set this up, you know, so. My members specifically, there's a link down below if you're interested in that. You get early access to videos, but you also get 1 extra episode a month, where typically what we do is we go through different series, different ideas that I have, like this one, and try to plan it out, and just, you know, I try to take any insight and input that you might have and try to incorporate that in the series themselves. But we talked about going to, we're starting, excuse me, on this field here. Let me just show it to you really quick. And the reason why I decided to go against it is a couple of reasons. One, I don't like how many trees there were here. I think it's going to make it too easy. The other one has trees, don't get me wrong, but I would argue this one has probably double the trees on it, the land itself, versus what the other one did. And you're absolutely allowed to take those trees down if you want to. You can do whatever you want with those trees. That is 100% on you and your choice. You can do whatever you want with your land. So I think just to make it another level more difficult, I decided to switch the land that we got. It's also a larger amount of land too, so yes, that's the way we went with that, or that's the reason we went with that. Excuse me, I'm going the wrong way here. I said I was going to go the other way, and here I am going the same way. Let me turn around here. So that looks like it's a little bit of a shortcut right there. I think we're going to take that shortcut. It's an interesting shortcut here, but we're going to take it. Now, I do know one of those little tickets I was talking about is right up here. I will show it to you. I'm not going to pick it up, as I mentioned, because we are going to put a restriction on that definitely be down in the description, but I will show you the ticket, what it looks like, so you know what to look for and what to not pick up. A lot of people were looking forward to this series coming back. It was a lot of fun, the first one. I added an optional objective to finish the temple. It literally became the bane of my existence, so I actually never finished the temple. But, you know, whatever. So here we go. This is what the ticket looks like. Again, I'm not going to pick it up, but that's what it looks like. Yeah, it's $10,000 you get every one of them. So it's going to be like 200,000 and some odd change. It's probably 250. I don't remember exactly how many are on the map, but there's a couple. I think there's another one right here. Yeah, there's another one right in there. So yeah, you know, we're going to restrict that because I think it's just going to become too easy. Now, the thing about this map, which a lot of people said, you know, they really like this map, but some of the fields are a little bit expensive. They're a little pricey. So that's also going to just, you know, factor into the series itself and how difficult it's going to be. We're playing on hard difficulty. I'm impartial on that. If you want to play on normal, I guess you can play on normal, but I'm going to play on hard. I want this to be difficult. I want it to last for a while as well. What else haven't I brought up? What else do I need to bring up that might be minor, less of an important topic versus what we've already talked about? I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, so if you do any other harvests of any sort besides the specific crop you got, you're welcome to do whatever you want with those. If you want to buy some kind of a production, you know, to utilize some of that crop and make a little bit more money, by all means, go for it. You just cannot do the specific crop you got. You cannot put that into any production on your land. You have got to buy the production that comes on the map, and you've got to siphon every single bit of that specific crop that you got through that production. That is the real big restriction, I guess, the only real big restriction. I guess we could just go ahead and get started on this field here, but that field is a little bit larger, I think, than the other one. I think what I might do is save this field for the next episode, since I talked for so long already. Just kind of explain the details and how everything's going to work. I think we might save 44. Well, as a matter of fact, let's do a quick autosave here. Which one's bigger? Because we'll do the smaller of the two today. I would assume it's 38. 4.17 acres. Yeah. Now, what we probably need to do... I don't know if I need to do it for harvesting, but I probably need to buy the soil information here, huh? How much is it for the soil information for both of these? I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it for both of them. We're going to need it anyway. Like I said, I'm playing precision farming on. I guess you don't necessarily have to if you don't like it. I do think it's going to make it more difficult if you do so, though. I was struggling to get up that little hill right there. Alright, so what do we got over here? I don't even know. What are our crops here? What do we have? Let's see. What do we got? What do we got? I think these are both one of the new crops. I think the one... Yeah, okay, so we've got mustard, which we actually can harvest in this map, which is great. The other one... Is it rye? Just regular rye? Yeah, regular rye. Okay, so we've got rye and mustard is what we have. And then I'm going to turn the poppy on, too. Because that's all we're going to be having for a little while, I think. Maybe we'll be able to buy another smaller field with some money that we have here, but it may also not be the smartest choice either. Alright, so we are dropping the mustard as well on the ground. We're dropping the straw or whatever that is from the mustard on the ground, which is a good thing, right? We're going to have to figure out some way to get it up off the ground. We don't really have anything at current, but... I mean, maybe we bale it. Maybe we find a forge wagon. I don't know. See, $3,000 seems like a lot of money, but it's really not. We don't have anything, right? We've got a harvester, we've got a trailer, and we've got a tractor. Could I have bought maybe a tiny bit of a cheaper tractor and probably gotten by? Yes. Yes. Same thing probably with the trailer. Yeah, we probably could have saved ourselves, I don't know, $10,000, $15,000, right? We probably could have. Probably more like 10 or 12, but whatever. But that just seemed like it was such a good deal on that tractor that it would be kind of stupid not to get it. We probably do need to service the tractor here soon, but for the time being, it'll be okay. This is not going to be easy, man. This is that loan, that change in the loan, that is going to be brutal. I mean, you might have enough money to pay off the loan completely, and then the randomizer says, well, sorry, you can't pay anything off. And then it tells you, hey, by the way, even though you have enough money to pay it off, I want you to take out another $100,000 too. And continue to pay interest on all of that. So now you have a $250,000 loan or whatever, right? It could get bad. It could get bad. It also could get very easy for you, right? That's all going to be the luck of the draw. You could get a situation where all of a sudden you're now at $600,000 on a loan. You've got plenty of money to spend. It might make you tempted to spend some of that money. You might end up spending some of that money, and now you've got to incur a lot more interest and fees from that, right? So we'll see. Either way, this is it's not going to be. I think we modified it for the best. I really do. I liked the first one a lot, but I think these extra layers here are going to make this even more enjoyable and even more difficult to successfully navigate through. Right? It's going to be a struggle, man. I rambled for a long time. We've got a lot to do here. This field is going to take us a while, especially with the small harvester that we have here. But with having a silo, we're in good shape. I can harvest this, and we can put everything into the silo. Hopefully. At least it should store in the silo. I actually didn't test that. I didn't even think about it. If not, I guess what we're doing. I guess we're selling it. I mean, there's nothing else we could do for it. The only other thing... Whoop, no. No, don't put a worker on. No. I guess the only other thing we can really do... I guess we could figure out another silo or something maybe to store it if it can't go into that silo, but I would suspect it can, since it can be harvested with a generic cereal crop harvest header, not even a corn header or sunflower header. It's just a generic header. I think we're going to be okay. But yeah, we'll get to work. All right, we're moving along nicely here. There's some weird shadow circle, shade, sun-ish type of shadow here you can see in the left-hand corner that's happening when I'm going this way for some reason. You would think at almost 9 in the morning that really wouldn't be an issue. This way it's no problem at all, so I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, we're cruising along here. We're getting now to the smaller portion of the field. Obviously the field kind of widens out down that way, but we're making good progress, man. We really are. It seems like a relatively decent yield, considering. Obviously, it's not perfect, but it's a decent yield, I would say. So this will be good. And this is, obviously, like I said, going to go directly into the silo. I don't even know. So, like, you know, there's a lot of new crops here that, on this map that, you know, I'm not used to utilizing at all. And I don't even actually know when mustard is best to sell. I would assume it's very similar to all the other crops, but, you know, I really don't know. So, I guess what that means is we need to jump into here and see when mustard sells best. December, okay. Not a huge profit there off of mustard. Pretty minor. Now, I wonder, well, it's not even a wonder, I bet you can do something with mustard. I'm not exactly sure what you would do with it, but I bet there's something you can do. Well, I mean, you make actual mustard with it, but I would have thought that would have been some kind of an oil, but maybe not. It wasn't in our oil production, so... But to be fair, I don't know anything about mustard, so I mean, other than the mustard you buy at the store, right? That's the only thing I know. So I don't even know if there is something in here for mustard. That might be something I didn't even think about. I didn't really look. It's kind of seeming like there might not be anything if you end up getting mustard. There isn't anything. So what are we going to do for the ones where if you get something that's not in there? I guess we can make poppy cake too, so I guess I could go with the bakery approach if I wanted to as well. You know, I guess that's going to be whatever you decide, I suppose, right? It's going to be your choice, I guess, more than anything. I don't know. I don't know what to do now. I didn't even think about the fact that there might not be something in here for all of these. All right, well, oh, I'm just driving across into somebody else's field. Well, I guess I'm going to have to rethink that a bit, I guess, between now and the next episode on what we're going to do if you end up getting a crop like that. I thought I had covered all of my bases here before we started this one, but I must have missed mustard somehow. It seems like everything else is in here. You know, you got flax, you got lavender. There's your lavender again. You got buckwheat and millet in here, among other things, right? All right, I guess I'll think about mustard. Maybe I just need to remove mustard from the equation. Maybe that's not something you can put it, or you should be putting into a randomizer. I guess maybe what we do is if you end up getting mustard, let me know down below, and let's see if we can figure something out. I don't know. I'm not sure if I know of any production that I'm aware of on ModHub, at least. Maybe there's something for PC, but that you can do anything with mustard with. At least not currently at the time of this recording. Interesting. I don't know if this just looks like basic straw. I don't know for sure if it is, but it just looks like basic straw on the ground. So, obviously, today's episode we're harvesting this. The next episode we're going to harvest the big field over there. You could see how long it took to harvest this one with the, the harvester that we have. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but we really can't afford to spend a bunch more money. So to pick up the straw, I guess that's the next thing, right? That's the next thing to decide what we're going to do here. I mean, if we want, I probably should have just bought that front loader to begin with. But there's some other options we could get here that may help us. We're already having to rethink some things here. Already in episode 1 here towards the end, mostly because of the mustard. It seemed, like I said, I think everything else has some kind of has something at least that we can make out of it. Almost positive about that statement. So, yeah. Well, we can make potato chips too, technically, if we really wanted to. I don't want to. You know how much I've really never done it because I don't like potatoes. It's probably my least favorite thing to harvest, and that's why I almost never ever do it. Okay, well, there's a manual baler. Go the hand push baler. Earlier on in that time lapse, I was trying to go at it from that angle because it's just a little bit easier, I think, to see with that weird, which doesn't almost seem correct, shadow that was occurring. At least for the time of the day, it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense how large that is. There should be a shadow like you're seeing now, 100%, but yeah, the other way it's weird. I wonder... I'm going to stop for a second. I suspect not. I don't think there's anything that we could feed. There are obviously clearly other things here that we can feed the cows, as you can see. I just don't think there's anything else that I can feed. Well, I guess I can feed mustard to the pigs. Interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, pigs pretty much eat anything, so I guess that kind of makes sense, right? But, okay, well. We didn't get pigs, unfortunately. We got water buffalo, so mustard really has no use for us here. Alright, we got that field all harvested up. I'm going to leave the straw on the ground. We're not going to deal with the straw in this episode or even the next episode. Well, maybe not. We might start it on the next episode. I don't know. It really is going to depend on how long it takes us to harvest that field over there. But either way, we're not going to be focusing on it today in today's episode. Just one other thing real quick to note that I didn't note earlier, and if it's missed, it's missed, but I'll put it in the description either way. Just try to stay away from super unrealistic things like, don't put down a... a greenhouse that is going to make you $50,000 every month, right? It's a challenge, right? Just be smart about it. Don't be dumb and put something down that's going to make it over OP and you're going to be able to complete this within 6 months or something. Like, it's just think about the fact that it's supposed to be a difficult challenge and try not to utilize things that are going to, and to be quite frankly, make it much easier for you, right? You can certainly put down, greenhouses. You can put down generators even, but, make sure it's not some kind of a unrealistic generator, right? If you're going to do it, make sure it's something where it's going to take you a year or year and a half, 2 years, whatever it may be, to actually pay it off, right? Let's just be smart about what we're doing. All right, so that is done. So we're just going to park that right there for the time being. We're going to go put this away. And when I say put it away, we're literally just going to leave it out in the elements because that's all we can do right now. We don't have any sheds or anything like that. Maybe here in the winter months we will do that. We'll have less to do then, obviously. And, yeah, we're going to leave the episode at that point. So I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, and you have yet to do so, make sure you smash the like, subscribe button for me. It's the easiest and best way to help me out. And it's completely free to do. There's not many things left in the world that are free, and that is one of them. So if you can do that, that would help me out tremendously. I want to thank all of my members. I really do appreciate each and every single one of you. If you're interested in becoming a member, you do get early access to videos like this one, including the competitive one-tiled challenge. There's a link down below. My Discord link is down below as well if you want to share progress on this or any other thing that you might be working on, whether that's images, text, or videos. You have the ability to do that, or even a live link. There's opportunity for you to do all of that down there. I do have a second channel. It's not Farming Simulator related. If you want to see other things that I'm doing, I share it on Discord. There's also a link down below for you to check out that channel if you'd like to as well. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I've got to say for the most part. If you do decide to take this on, make sure you let me know down below. I'd love to check out your starts and try to keep up on your progress as we move along. And yeah, we'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for your continued support. As always, it means a lot, man. It really does. Thank you all. I'll see you next time.